The April date is everything that we expected. Every project having an EIR, having data specified in their contracts and compliant around the level 2 that we described earlier. Because we've met that, one of the things that we're very keen to do is to start to drive the quality of data up. It's all very well just pushing data at each other, but if that data is rubbish, what was the point? So a validation strategy and electronically checking data is one of the things that we're going to set up. So a stretch target, which I'm not going to describe completely until tomorrow morning, there will be some kind of requirement around electronic validation capabilities by October next year, about a year from now. And that is a stretch. No one else has kind of gone for that yet. That is, you know, a big jump. It's linked to an IUK project that's we've involved with last year, where we started to understand how we could check data electronically up in the cloud, up in the internet. And those tools are now available, and we've been seeing people use them. And what we want to do is use the next year to develop those techniques so actually we can pass those out into the supply chain. Because if we don't start to validate and we don't get trust in our data, we won't grow the economy, and that's really what we need to be looking at next.
So is that stretch target in October, I suppose, an acceptance that meeting the target is one thing, but actually getting the industry to meet the target in a meaningful way is really the big challenge?
I think if you sat us back down in July 2011 and had this conversation, and we were talking about what we were going to setting out to do, you'd have said, blimey, you're mad, you'll never have a whole industry talking about data, talking about building information modelling and design. So we set our sights in a realistic way. It is a genuine stretch target. You know, we didn't expect we'd get this far down the journey. And that's great. Yeah, it's exactly what we want to be doing.
Right. And so what do you expect? What do you expect the October deadline, the October review? What do you expect that will actually do in terms of changing behaviour now?
I think it really, because it is a stretch target, it really depends on the department and how they decide to take that into their commercial contracts. So, you know, let's let it run. Let's see what comes out of tomorrow.
Right.
But certainly, it is about driving the ability to have data that is ready to transact, just as you'd see in a bank. You know, when we put our card in the bank machine, we expect that to work properly and to be reliable and to be validated. That's what we need from construction data, and we need to move to that level of transaction if we're going to create a genuine
So is there a fear though? I suppose you're now 6 months away from the first target, you're now 12 months away from a new target, that, oh my God, they've changed the rules, they've changed the target, the confusion in the industry reigns?
No, not at all. I think the focus still remains on April, remains on projects driving value and driving cost and value, cost down and value up. I think the fact that it is a stretch target, it's worded very carefully around how it's going to be used. The responsibility for the use will be in the departments, not with us. So if the department chooses not to do it, that'll be their decision. But if we don't start going down that route and we don't start driving the quality of data up, we'll be accused of not driving hard enough. Right. We have to stretch ourselves now.
So before we move on to, I suppose, what's the life like beyond 2016? Are there some specific sectors that you feel really need to be working harder in this area? Are there particular areas that
naming names, is it?
Yeah, yes. Preferably, yes.
So, small building projects turn over very quickly. So, a prison in MOJ, you learn lots in 2 years. If you're looking at Crossrail, you learn lots in 2 decades. So, let's just be realistic around how quickly these projects turn over and how we learn from them. The great thing is we are learning faster than any other country. We've now got a benchmark that we can learn from and progress from. I don't think anyone's not gone out and tried. I think I'm absolutely amazed. At the beginning, people were saying, well, actually, this isn't for us. But the reality is, I'm not hearing that anymore. Right. We've proved it can be done. The challenge we've got though isn't can we do it. The challenge is how do we grow capacity to do lots of it? Because we've proved we can do it. We've proved on all the projects that you've seen and the 12 or so billion that's running through of spend that's going through at the moment. We know we can do it. Every other country can do one of them. How do we do all of them? How do we drive that benefit across the whole portfolio?
So what learnings? I mean, for instance, are there learnings that you can say, okay, we Crossrail's up there with its second digital railway. What are the learnings that HS2 should take from that? Can you have you got them all corralled? Do you know what the learnings are?
For sure. I mean, every project that we've run has got a lessons learnt as far as we can commercially go prior to final account, then after final account on the website. The whole point of the task group was to share that information, share that learning, and there's been some stuff that we could have made better calls, and we've retrofitted that. One of the things that we learned on Cookham, which was the first project, was how hard it is to validate data. Back to where we were a moment ago around understanding this data. 700,000 lines of data that get delivered in a BIM model. How do you check those manually? Well, you don't. But actually, go back to when you get a big pile of drawings like that bump on your desk. How do you check that lot? Well, the answer is you don't. And so we're learning now how to do some of that and automate some of those processes, which will drive behaviours. Because at the moment, people know they're not checked because we haven't got the labour to check them. When you digitally check them and people know they're being checked, we'll start to drive the quality up. And that's exactly what we need as an industry. Is that you don't expect, when you ask for 10 quid out of your bank account, you don't expect the bank account to be decremented 30 quid. That's the kind of equivalent that we'd be asking. So I think they're the sorts of things that it's the realisation of what we already knew as manifested in challenges that are even bigger than we expected.